guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for Inhumanity issue 1. I would say the most hyped up issue for this week. But before I start talking about this issue, just want to give you guys a little update, which is that Comic Uno episode 25 is up, and that is a milestone issue for Comic Uno episode, and that's to show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show. So I allowed you guys to vote for exclusive comics, and what you guys voted for was TMNT, the micro series, so you could check that out, Comic Uno episode, and also here are the other exclusive comics. Green Arrow issue 26, and Marvel Knights X-Men issue 2. So if you want to go check out those comics, go to Comic Uno episode 25 on DarkAvengerINC, and also annotated. But let's talk about Inhumanity issue 1. Very cool cover. I was actually really looking forward to this. I think it's a really interesting story to see these regular humans become Inhumans, and I was very interested with this story. I hear it's because the Marvel Universe wants to get mutants, and this is the only way the Marvel movie universe could get mutants is with Inhumanity, so whatever. If it brings us an interesting story, I'll be fine with it. So I don't know much about the Inhumans. I know that Medusa's in there. I really haven't read Inhumans at all, though, that much. So I was a little skeptical about this at the same time, because I'm like, is it only going to be about this palace and their universe is only going to be about them, or are we going to see these mutant Inhumans, these new Inhumans come to the issue? And let's see if we did. Cool cover though. Again, I was excited but skeptical about this issue. Alright, so in this issue we get to see one of the big Inhumans, which is Karnak. He comes out of this explosion and their world explodes. Inhumans palace explodes, and they're like a hovering palace. And in this issue, find out exactly why it explodes. I don't know if this is connected to Infinity. It might be. I haven't been reading Infinity. But yeah, maybe they're just explaining stuff. For me, I haven't read Infinity, so this is all new to me. So we get to see that Karnak, he explains what happened, and since their palace is exploded, who exploded it, which is Black Bolt, which is Medusa's husband, and why he exploded it, because there was these cavemen that were kidnapped thousands of years ago, and they were experimented on, and those are Inhumans, and now they are all on their own. You know, they mated, they became the Inhumans, and then they came to connect with the humans, and they started mating, and now they're just humans. No one knows who these Inhumans are. Now that their palace exploded, the gunk that came from the palace, this machine, activates their inhuman powers, and that's why people are coming into capsules. Whoever mated with these humans and had some inhuman blood in them are becoming full Inhumans and will have superpowers. So that's pretty much what this issue is about. It's just kind of explaining all that in a very, very long way, because it feels like a very long issue. But in the end, if you're an Inhumans fan, something big happens, because he, you know, let me think of his name again. Karnak, he believes that he can't do anything. He can't change his mind frame. He can't do anything. But Medusa can. She's a queen, but she has empathy. So he believes that her position won't, I guess, sway her to do different things, but to actually be a good queen to these new Inhumans. But he believes he can't change his ways, so he pretty much kills himself. And that's going to be continued in Inhumanity Medusa. So if you're curious of how this continues, go to Medusa. And then we'll have an Inhumanities or Inhumans series coming. I don't know when. I think it's been delayed, but Mad Fraction is making just an Inhuman series. So did I like this issue? Yeah, I like the story overall. I actually am very curious of where they go with this, and I want to learn about these new Inhumans, and I really hope we get into a position of an Inhuman themselves, and you know, someone that had a regular job and a regular person that became an Inhuman. I really hope that's what this new series is more about, is seeing that, and also the aftermath of the actual Inhumans. And I thought it was very interesting how they did this. I thought it was a very interesting story overall, but they told it in such a long way that there were a lot of boring spells. And then I felt like you would enjoy this more if you were connected to these characters in some way. And for me, I don't really have a connection to these characters. I never really read the Inhumans, but I think for Inhuman fans, you'll be enjoying this, because it's not just like, oh, well, we're just going to forget the Inhumans and just focus on these new groups. I think it had a great balance of both focusing on the new and focusing on the old, where it was fresh for both type of readers. So again, there's some boring spots here. The art was a little sketchy at times. Hopefully I can show you an example. I want to show a specific page where I'm like, that's a little sketchy. But there are some parts where it's less detailed, like this blonde girl's hair looked a little weird. So there's times where it's less detailed once it's a little farther away and there's more people on a panel. But overall, the art was pretty good. I'm going to give this a 3.5. I'm looking forward to seeing more Inhuman stuff and where this all goes. It could either go in a down position or it could go up. It could really go anywhere. I think it can really succeed, or it's like any event, any Marvel event. Sometimes starts really well and you're like, I can't wait for the next issue, and then it just kind of goes down. But I'm really rooting for this one. I hope it does well, and I thought this was an okay start. So I'm going to give it a 3.5. I'm interested to see more, and hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the Rant Situations, and don't forget to like my Facebook page, and I'll see you guys later.